Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. My name is Bernard Alvarez, and we've got another fantastic show coming up for you this afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and hello to everybody in the chat room. Let's welcome our assistant producer, Reverend Trevor Knott, who is joining me live from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Hello. It's wonderful to be here after an incredibly long week at work.
Yes. Well, I'm very grateful that you spend your days off working with us, so thank you for joining us. I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish everybody, I don't know if you guys celebrate in Canada Guy Fawkes Day, but I just want to let everybody know that I'm celebrating it, and it is also Election Day here in the United States, so we have a lot of great stuff, a lot of great energy going on today. We're going to be talking with Chris Kaylor about that in just a few moments. I just want to let everybody know also that Trevor is manning the chat room. So if you have any questions for myself or Chris, please go ahead and type them into the chat room. We don't take calls, but we do take questions via the chat. So now that I've done my big announcement that I'm very happy for, let me tell you a little bit about our wonderful guest today. Let me just point out Chris I'm sorry, I'm going to say it wrong again. Kaylor is a native of Winnipeg, Manitoba with Trevor, which is really awesome. So we have two Winnipeg Manitobians on the show today. He is a quantum energy healer who uses the pendulum chart method of dowsing to find the root cause of any health problem. Once the illness-causing stressor is found, Chris then uses sacred geometry, such as pyramids, to neutralize the stressor. Results can usually be felt often within 24 hours. He is the owner of Chris Kaylor Holistic and Quantum Point Energy Wristbands in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and today we are going to be talking about a lot of things, but quantum healing, energy healing, and so much more. So welcome to the show, Chris. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Bernard. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so glad your friend got a hold of me, and I was so happy when I saw that you were already on Roxy's show. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, she's an awesome person. We had a really good show that night, and lots of great response. She definitely packs a punch.
She does. Yes, she does. Well, Chris, can you tell us a little bit? It's a very interesting journey, I'm sure, becoming what someone would call an energy healer. How did you go from, a happy-go-lucky kid growing up and discovering and doing what you're doing? What was your journey to get here?
That's an interesting story, Bernard. About 8 years ago, my first wife, she was very ill. She had a rare disease called scleroderma, and subsequently she passed away from it. After that happened, before I was doing this, I was in the printing trade. I was running printing presses, a city block long almost, for a living. I did that for 30 years. But when my first wife passed away, it gave me the opportunity to retire. So at 45 years old, I stopped working. So I sat in my backyard and I drank beer for a couple of months. And a lot of my neighbors were looking at me, scratching their heads, thinking, okay, Chris has lost it. We better intervene. And a few of them said a few things, and I thought, you know what? I think it's time to pay respect to myself and my wife and get my life back in order. So, of course, I started looking at some things to do with my time. And the old saying goes, you close one door, another door opens. And sure enough, a door opened for me that I met somebody who does work like this, and I took an interest in it. And this fellow, he said that you can take this course in Winnipeg. It's a Terry Bell Shote course, doing muscle testing for herbs and that type of thing. So I took the course. I had nothing better to do. So I started learning it, and I grasped it pretty quick. This fellow I was working with was quite impressed that I could pick it up so quick. And, as I went along with it, I found that my intuition was really ramping up. I was starting to get, feelings and starting to know that stuff is going to happen and things are going on. So as I went through this little journey, I started taking on more courses in dowsing, courses in quantum touch, courses to do live blood analysis. I bought a radionic device and started working with frequency energy and that type of thing. And within 1 year after doing all this, I've got people knocking on my door asking me to help them with their health problem. And here I am today. I'm in a holistic healthcare center with a full office, and I've got clientele 5 days a week, 24 hours a day almost if I wanted to. So things really escalated really quick for me. And that to me, that was just, it told me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. This is everything I've done since I was born has led me to this point. If I look back to all the different jobs I've had and things I've done, it's all basically groomed me for doing this. So is this a gifted thing? Yes, it is definitely gifted. You don't learn this. You don't go out and take a course and learn how to be a healer. You are born a healer. It happens to you. And I've just taken the whole thing, made my own protocol out of it, find a way that works for me. And sure enough, does it work? 100% yes, it does.
That's amazing. Fantastic. And so after learning, not only learning the methods and whatnot, I guess you experience a lot of the treatment yourself, I would guess.
Oh, you know what? I'm 51 years old. I feel like I'm 25. I do work on myself. A lot of healers out there, people who do energy work, will attest that it can be pretty tough to work on yourself because there's so much influence back and forth with your own psyche.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult, but I'm able to bridge that. Working on myself is not as easy as working on another person, but I can do it. I've proven it to myself by going to the local mall, taking my blood pressure, seeing it's kind of high, thinking I better do something about that. Come back to my office, do some work. A couple days later, go back, and my blood pressure is fine. So I know that there is stuff I can do for myself. I've done it plenty of times. My family, well, I've got a 2-year-old boy that my wife and I have tried twice to have a child. Both ended up in miscarriages. I did a bunch of energy work. We got a 2-year-old boy, and now we've got another one on the way in 3 months. So
oh, wow.
It worked. Yeah, it works.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, tell me a little bit about let's say you have a new client coming into the office. What would they experience?
The way it works with an appointment, now I can do this either in my office in Winnipeg. Now everybody listening to the show, of course, is not in Winnipeg. So why am I saying this? We can do this on the telephone. We can do it over Skype. It's energy. I've got clients all over the world: Vietnam, Russia, Norway, Sweden, many in the United States. So what happens when we start an appointment, whether you're on the phone or in my office, is you're going to give me a list of symptoms that you're having. Let's say the top 3 symptoms. So let's say you come in and say, well, my blood sugar is always erratic and high, which would be diabetes. So what I will do is take those symptoms, put them within a focus with my pendulum, and start asking questions. And ultimately, when you're dowsing with a pendulum, the question is more important than the answer. If you ask the right question, you get the right answer. So that's where I start, is asking what question to ask, and that leads me to to the area we need to work on. So the pendulum is going to say we have to work in the pancreas, of course, or it could be somewhere else within the endocrine system. Some gland is down causing the pancreas not to work properly. But let's say it shows me to work in the pancreas. Then I'm going to ask about the stressor. Now that's the important one. This is the issue within the pancreas that is causing a problem with insulin production, let's say. So the pendulum is going to tell me, is there a parasite? Is there a virus? Is there bacteria? Is there an excess in metals, heavy metal poisoning? It's also going to tell me, is there a spiritual problem? Now, this is the big one that a lot of people don't realize, that 9 times out of 10, there is some type of spirit or negative energy attachment to your body that is causing the health problem. And that's one of the areas I kind of specialize in, is finding out about this spirit attachment. So once we find out what it is, whether it's just a spirit somebody who's passed away, they don't know they're dead yet, and they're inhabiting your body. Is it something negative? Like, let's say, how about the devil, for instance? Could also be something satanic. I remove on a daily basis. I remove the devil, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call it, out of people, especially kids with ADHD. It's amazing the differences in a child's attitude once you remove the devil from them, okay? And many people have said, the devil's in my child today. Well, you're probably not too far from the truth.
Right.
Also, a big thing that I look for is voodoo, black magic, and witchcraft. Okay, and we can get into that a little later. But those are all the things that I generally look for. Once I find whatever it is, what's in your pancreas, whether it's spiritual or physical, I have a pyramid that I developed. I have a tool maker in Alberta, Canada, and we can get into that later too. He makes these pyramids, different energy rings, all these different components that conduct quantum energy. What I'll do is I'll take this pyramid, I'll hold it over your head, and I'll give it intent. So let's say I find a virus within your pancreas. I'll hold the pyramid over your head, and I'll say, neutralize, eliminate the virus within this person's pancreas. And at the quantum level, at the speed of light, that virus is immediately neutralized. It's just gone. And quite often, within a few days, you may notice that your blood sugars are going to balance out, things are going to change, and you're going to notice a difference in the way you feel.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, for those of us who have not heard of quantum energy or quantum healing, can you define it a little bit further for those that are listening that this is new to, that they're new to this?
Yeah, the word quantum, it's a highly misused word. Word quantum's a neat word. Lots of people use it in the name of their companies, Quantum Airlines and stuff like that. The word quantum means the smallest measurable amount of something. So when you're talking about energy, quantum energy, the smallest measurable amount. And that is a light photon. It's a light particle. That's what we're working with. And this light particle, these photons, have consciousness. It's what the entire universe is made up of. It's what everything is made up of. This is God energy. This is the God particle that they're trying so hard to recreate at the Hadron Collider, okay? And they're just creating black holes, and they're going to, do all kinds of bad stuff for themselves. But that's exactly what quantum energy is. And we're working with these certain tools, certain intent, to excite these light particles and to work at a conscious level to make the adjustment within your body. Hello?
I can't help but feel it's like a modern version of shamanic healing.
Energy healing through the ages has been around, and there's so many different ways of doing it. There's people who do Reiki, there's people who do quantum touch, there's EFT, all these different ways of doing it. My take on it is there's many ways to cook a potato. Okay.
Yep.
And it's all a matter of which way works best for you. But I take the mysticism of energy healing, and I give it some identity, way to explain it so people can understand it. Because for a lot of people, this is hocus pocus. This is magic. This is what's going on. Are you just tricking my mind into thinking I'm well? No, we're actually making changes at the quantum level.
Yes, exactly. And for those of you that listen to the show regularly, we talk about this often, about intention, about just using words to create change, and thought to create change. It's a real reality. It's not hocus pocus. We've proven it over and over again in many different scientific experiments, especially in quantum physics and string theory and whatnot. Absolutely. Now, we've only got a few more. Oh, actually, we got about 5 more minutes left in this particular segment. Tell me a little bit about some of the tools that you use.
Well, the 2 main tools that I use, one is called a neutralization ring. And if you looked on my website, chriskaylor.net, you'd see some pictures of it. I actually sell these on my website. They're very inexpensive, but they're amazing with their energy. The neutralization ring, the one I use in my clinic, looks like a big bear trap almost. It's a round ring, and it's got all these spikes in the middle of it. This removes negative energy from your body, and this is sacred geometry. All sacred geometry, such as the Star of David or the ring itself, has a potential for doing specific quantum work within your body. And what the neutralization ring does, it pulls negative energy out of your body. Okay, and that's negative energy you absorb on a daily basis, from people you work with who rub you the wrong way, or watching the news or something like that. And you can actually feel energy leaving your body. It's like a grounding effect. You feel a heaviness in your body and your legs. You feel off balance. All different types of things happen. So that's the first thing I use on a person, just to do a general quick clearing, kind of wipe the canvas clean a little bit. But the pyramid I use, it's called a silver light pyramid. And it's a 7-inch base pyramid, and there's 5 pyramids stacked on top of each other, and it's full of different quartz crystals, magnets, other sacred geometry. It's got some magnifying glasses on it, and it's got a shungite pyramid on the very top of it. And this one is the star of the show. I use this one on everybody and everything. It does the best intent work that I've ever seen in a tool.
That sounds great. And what is, again, to clarify for some of our listeners, there's been a lot of talk of sacred geometry as of lately. What is your definition of sacred geometry?
Well, sacred geometry, you take pyramid, okay? That pyramid is an energy. A pyramid will create certain types of energies. It'll start off as positive ions at the top of the pyramid. As it slopes down, it'll turn to negative ions, which are good for your body. A pyramid can also emit negative green horizontal, which is a positive energy. So the sacred geometry in itself is the dimensions, the shape. When you look at the pyramid I have, if you look at it at the base, you can see the Star of David, and that in itself is energy. So any type of shape, like a sphere, a rectangle, if it's made with certain materials, certain metals, it'll conduct an energy and serve a purpose.
Yes, absolutely, and we see sacred geometry shapes in nature. Everywhere you cut you cut an apple open, you see a pentagram. You look at the cellular structure of certain plants and animals, you're going to see geometric patterns, as well as the universe itself and the galaxies and whatnot. So it is absolutely everywhere, and it's wonderful that you have the ability to tap into that. And for me, it is life force. It is a very positive life force that can be used for many things, including healing. And I love the fact that so many people are just awakening and opening up to this particular energy that's coming through right now. But we'll talk about what the energy coming through today and this weekend is after the break. But tell us, let's share with everybody a website where they can get more information about your work and how perhaps they can book a internet appointment with you.
Yeah, my website is chriskaylor.net. That's CHRISKEHLER.net. Don't do .com, because that's another Chris Kaylor. There's plenty of us out there. Okay. I've also got about 40 or 50 videos on YouTube that explain my work, demonstrates it, explains up some of my philosophies on things, and that's YouTube/Chris Kaylor.
Oh, great. Okay, wonderful. Well, like I said, we're going to be taking a break in just a few seconds. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with Chris Kaylor. You are listening to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Chris, when we return, we spoke a little bit about these energies that are coming through this week. I was hoping we can start with that. We'll be right back.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
And welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We were speaking with Chris Kaylor today on quantum healing, energy healing, and so much more. We've had a lot of really, I guess, good energy these last couple of days. I don't know if anybody was feeling the effects of this recent Mercury retrograde. But I will say today is a very powerful day, at least socially and pop culturally. Well, not even pop culturally, maybe perhaps alternative culturally. We have Guy Fawkes Day, and of course we have the Million Mask March going on around the world, the anonymous sponsored demonstrations that are happening everywhere, which, by the way, we are streaming live on our website right now at thegic.org if you're interested. I believe we're streaming the DC and a couple other ones. But there's a lot of energy going on right now. And over this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken, we had Venus go into as a Capricorn, I believe. And that seems to be making a big difference. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about these energies that are happening, especially this past weekend and today.
What's been happening? Everybody's been hearing about this fifth dimension consciousness, and it's been going on for a number of years now. That this consciousness is going to come in, and people look back to December 21st, 2012. Something big was supposed to happen, the end of the Mayan calendar, and that type of thing. That was basically the start of things. That was a lock-in time for these energies to be able to manifest. So what's been happening since then is that I think everybody's noticed that time has kind of sped up a little bit, and what's happened is that the Earth itself, or the energy of the Earth, has started speeding up a bit so it could catch up to fifth dimension parallel universe. Okay, so that has basically taken place. The fellow who makes my tools, he's in Alberta, Canada. His main job is to run energy into the Earth grid to clear the Earth energy of all this dark stuff that's going on, all these ETs and different dark energies, so that the Earth can proceed into this fifth dimension consciousness. Okay, so what is the fifth dimension consciousness? What the heck is that? What this is a rise in our consciousness, or a rise in our awareness. To give you an example, for me, what's been going on is that when I use my pendulum to find a problem within a person, it's a lot more acute. It's a lot more right on and finding the problem a lot faster, a lot more accurate, and it's really, really noticeable on a daily basis. So what a lot of people might be experiencing with this shift, there's a lot of people who are not awake, okay? People may be starting to awaken to the fact that there is a universe out there other than just what people are shown in front on the TVs and by governments and Big Brother and that type of thing. So people might be starting to wake up that there is something else out there, okay, that there is other life forms out there and different types of things. There is validity in energy healing or people who are psychic and that type of thing. A lot of people who are awake right now may be going through a little bit of turmoil. Just today, I went through all of a sudden a wave of nausea, and I got all tingly and dizzy, and I thought, okay, here it comes. I'm ready for it. I actually have a friend who is a Stargate keeper, and she's involved with opening the stargates to let this consciousness in. And we talk back and forth and exchange notes of what we're feeling and what's going on. So the energy is here, okay? We can access the fifth dimension consciousness. What I was told yesterday by my pendulum and my guides is that in 8 days it's going to start to activate. So there could be more things happening kind of like this. So there's a lot of people who are waiting for this big light switch to be flicked, and all of a sudden, all kinds of exposure about governments and ET and aliens and different worlds and that type of thing is going to happen. It's not quite going to be like that. It's going to be a nice gradual transition for people. People are going to wake up. People are going to start realizing their own awareness about energy and about the universe. And you know, that's just the start of it. We really don't know exactly how it's going to play out and how things are going to change. All we know is that there is going to be some positive changes for people.
Yes, I know, and you can already start to see that. You know, I talk about it very often of these tumultuous times are merely just our consciousness and our planet shaking off the muck. You know, we're all very outraged at the behavior of the governments, of the bankers, of the elite, and whoever they're working with. But the reality of it is that it is being exposed. Things that have been hidden, knowledge that has been hidden, is starting to come back up to the surface. And I feel that, you know, this is a positive thing. And like you said, those of us who have been awakened for a while, I think we become more sensitive. I know myself, I feel my body's feeling very either fatigued or little aches and pains that never happened before are starting to arise. And I feel the same thing, though. I feel the same thing of my consciousness expanding at the same time. And I can't help but feel that's just a matter of me or anybody going through that, of cleansing or moving through any of the old work that we need to work through. So it can be very uncomfortable for some people. But like you said, the good news is that those who are not aware of what's happening or aware of what's going on with their own consciousness are now starting to see that. You know, I'll use a political example. I can't believe that in my neighborhood I see so many third-party signs this year. I never saw that before living here, and now all of a sudden we're seeing a move away from the mainstream idealism or the idea of the two-party paradigm. And the same thing goes with healing. I run a local group here myself, and just in the last couple of weeks, the numbers are growing very quickly, and it's just so nice to see things that were once taboo to talk about or taboo to explore, whether it be alternative healing or alternative politics, that now it's starting to really come to the forefront, and it's a very much needed part of the evolution that we're talking about here. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
It certainly is, and the key word you just said is alternative. So there's got to be something else other than this or that. You know, most people, when they think of alternatives, they think, oh, well, you know what, I'll go to that when nothing else that's in front of me works. And that's what most people do is they'll, if you got cancer, you're going to go to the doctor, you're going to do chemo, you're going to do radiation. All of a sudden it doesn't work, and the doctor says, well, good luck, but we couldn't help you. So now then people start looking for alternatives. Now what people are doing is they're going to alternative first before they even consider doing anything mainstream.
Yes, exactly. I always say, go to the pharmaceuticals at last resort. If you really need it, that's great. But try something holistic or more natural, whether it be energy or homeopathy or something like that, before you give in to all the chemicals and the cutting and the ripping off. And it kind of reminds me of, a great example is what we saw, even 100 years ago or 200 years ago with the leeches and the bloodletting, and things are progressing. Now the mainstream medical is starting to look like the leeches and the bloodletters.
I like that one.
Even though I'm starting to see that they're using leeches again, which I can understand why they use them in some cases. But I saw something very interesting, and not to get too much off topic from the energy work, just to set an example. It really was very disgusting, but it made a lot of sense. Where people that were having hard times with wounds healing, or I forgot whether it was chronic wounds that wouldn't heal, or like gangrene or something like that. The alternative healers were starting to use maggots to eat the dead tissue to help the body heal. And I was like, wow, using nature to heal. I mean, it's disgusting, but it just shows you how creative we can get when we think out of the box, you know.
Exactly.
And now, let's talk a little bit about some of the diseases that you have worked with or have skilled yourself to have the ability to heal or neutralize. And one of the big ones, of course, especially here in the more northern regions of the United States and of course Canada, is Lyme disease. And so many people seem to have Lyme disease, whether it be in the background or just a full-on acute version of it. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you've done with Lyme disease and what causes it, what are some of the symptoms, and what can someone like yourself do to help someone with Lyme?
Yeah, Lyme disease is a bigger issue than I think anybody realizes. I do have quite a few people that come to me and say, I know I have Lyme disease. I've gone to my doctor and said, I have Lyme disease. And the doctor says, oh, you can't have Lyme disease. There's no Lyme disease in Manitoba. Give me a break, okay? Yeah. It's such an incredibly big problem that the medical community just doesn't know how to number one, find it, or number two, how to deal with it. I did some research with somebody in Winnipeg. She's a school teacher named Kathleen Krang. She had Lyme disease so bad to the point she couldn't get out of bed. So she found a herb called Spiro K that is designed by Hulda Clark to actually kill Lyme disease. So she took the herb. She beat Lyme disease to the point where she could now function. So she was quite impressed with this. So she was going to university. She had to do a thesis. She did research on Lyme disease for her thesis. The research that she found was unbelievable. Lyme disease is communicable. You can get it from a mosquito bite. You can get it from a fly bite. You can get it from drinking somebody else's soda pop out of their can. It's so contagious, it's not even funny. So you don't even have to get bitten by a wood tick to get Lyme disease. Mm-hmm. So full-blown Lyme disease can mimic 250 different diseases and illnesses. So if you got diabetes, arthritis, MS, any kind of psychosis, mental problems, anything at all, there's a chance it could be Lyme disease. It all depends on where that bacteria goes within your body and rests and does the damage, okay? Lyme disease, what I found with my pendulum, is also something that is developed by the CIA, but we won't say that very loud. I don't want nobody dropping bombs in my clinic. So there's a lot of different aspects to Lyme disease. Where is it in your body? How chronic is it? Now, what I just found out about Lyme disease, of course, when I'm working with my pendulum, I'm working with spirit, I'm working with my guides, and they give me information all the time. When you have Lyme disease for a certain amount of time within your body, it transmutes to something called Buff's disease, Buffs. Don't ask me what that is. You'll never find it on the internet. It's nothing documented. This is something that I was, given this information. So when I work on Lyme disease, first of all, I have to remove Buff's disease. Then you can go to the first stage of Lyme disease and remove that. So when I work with Lyme disease, we do energy work. I also suggest that people take liquid ionic silver. Silver is antibacterial. It's going to kill the Lyme disease bacteria, and it's going to help the process. So I've had lots of experience working with Lyme disease. Many people notice huge differences pretty quick. When you're working with energy, things happen. They do happen pretty fast as long as you hit the nail on the head. So Lyme disease is definitely an illness that I pay a lot of attention to. When somebody comes to me with it, I always grasp it with open arms and say, let's kick this thing in the butt and get rid of it.
And what are some of the treatments besides? Well, I would guess the herb would be. What about energy work? Does that go with it as well?
Yeah, energy work. When we find out where it is. We move out, we just tell the bacteria to die. And there are about 13 different bacteria related with Lyme disease. It's a Borrelia spirochete bacteria. It can be seen in a live blood analysis, which I do in my clinic. So if you're in my office, we could see the Lyme disease within your blood. But just knowing what bacteria to work with, and it's normally a Borrelia turday bacteria, we just intend it to die and leave, and it does. and then we remove the toxins and debris from the bacteria. And then your body starts to heal itself, okay? When you have a cold, you have a virus dies and goes away, you feel better. Same thing with Lyme disease or any other disease and illness for that matter. Once it's gone, then the body can heal itself.
Ah, okay. Now, let me ask you, Chris, is there any, I'm sitting here looking at some of the topics we're discussing. Is there any importance or is there any type of diet that you can recommend for different diseases, or is that something you do, or do you have somebody that helps you with that, or?
What I like to suggest for people, of course, number one is nutrition. I mean, if you're eating fast food all the time or eating junk, well, of course, you're going to have a shit in, shit out, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry for the language. I always recommend to people take a good mineral supplement, something with all 98 minerals within it. A good liquid ionic is the best, okay? If you have a specific disease or illness that you're trying to work within your diet, juicing is probably one of the best ways to get certain nutrition into your body. You're going to be getting a whole load of it by juicing. And there's a lot of information on the internet, on YouTube about juicing. There's juicing for cancer, juicing for diabetes, all different types of things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all just a matter of getting nutrition into your body. Give your body what it needs to heal itself, and it will.
I couldn't agree more. I've got to tell you, I am so looking for a juicer right now because of an experience I had this past weekend. It's been a very busy week. Actually, it's been a busy month. And, we get run down. We get stressed out. I got run down. I had several events I had to coordinate and classes I had to teach last week and whatnot. I had out-of-town guests. And by Sunday, I started getting a little bit of a sore throat. And I was like, oh, geez, here we go. The first, cold of the year or the winter or whatnot. And my friend said, you know what? Why don't we go get a juice? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, a smoothie. And so we're looking around, and thank goodness, in my local downtown area, a new restaurant opened up that does juicing. I was like, you know what? Let's get some real live, nice, live plant raw juice. And I'll tell you, I had one of those, and within 6 hours, I felt like a brand new person. And this was after lack of sleep, lack of eating well, lots of stress. One juice made a huge, huge difference, and I swear by it now. Now I just really want to get myself a juicer.
Yeah, even something as simple as wheatgrass.
Yep.
Just doing a shot of wheatgrass. There's going to be a lot of chlorophyll in there. Chlorophyll is one molecule away from your blood. So you're putting all these nutrients in your body that it can use immediately. And your body doesn't have to digest it. So you're not going to have this tired, heavy feeling after eating a meal. It just goes straight into your body. It does the body good.
It certainly does. It certainly does, and it just it really is amazing when you can feel that difference that instantly. So and the reason why I brought this up is because so many of our what we want to call illnesses or diseases, a lot of them are contributed from the foods that we eat, or the preservatives, or the caffeine, the aspartame, the fluoride, the saccharin, the high fructose corn syrup, and I can't help but feel that a lot of the illnesses, especially with kids, some of the stuff comes from the crap that they're putting in the food, all these ingredients that we don't know how to pronounce. So,
Yeah.
I was just going to say, have you seen anything like that, and perhaps relating to some of the work that you do?
Well, here's what happens when you eat foods with lots of chemicals in it, okay? Now, this goes for, like smoking has chemicals. Prescriptions are all chemicals. When you're taking chemicals, putting it in your body, what happens is that these chemicals strip your body of minerals and nutrition. So it makes you weaker. So if your body doesn't have the right amount of minerals within it, so let's say fluoride. Here's what happens with fluoride. Okay, lots of people think that fluoride is good for your teeth and we need it. No, give me a break. Fluoride is rat poison. Mm-hmm. Fluoride is not a good thing whatsoever. There's a lot of cities in North America that are getting it taken out of their drinking water. Yeah. And I'm on a board in Winnipeg. We're trying to get it taken out of Winnipeg drinking water. Wow. What fluoride does is it pulls all the calcium out of your bones. So now you've got osteoporosis. Now you've got brittle bones. Now you have that problem. So now you have to put calcium back into your body. So that's what a bad diet does for you, is it pulls nutrition out. A good diet is going to be raw food, and it's going to have live enzymes in it. It's going to have everything your body needs to stay alive, and it's going to bring your health to new levels. So when you're eating crap, you're going to have a crappy body. Of course, we all know that. But that's the reason why. All these things that we're putting in our bodies that your body cannot digest, anything inorganic, strips your body of nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've come to a place, sadly, that we have to take control of our diets. We can't trust we can't trust the government. We can't trust the labels. I mean, right now we're going through something here in the United States. I don't know if you guys heard about it, the Monsanto Protection Act. They are bringing it back, and they want to include fluoride in that now. So if in the future anybody gets hurt from fluoride, nobody can sue the distributors or the people that create it. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, wait, we still have one more minute. Okay. But yeah, no, it's just gotten to the point where we really have got to learn how to educate ourselves, especially, with conversations like this we're having with you, Chris. People need to learn to really read the ingredients, to really know how to find nutritional supplements correctly. I know a lot of these, even these kids' vitamins are full of saccharin and aspartame and all these things. And we've really got to educate ourselves with that, and it really is hard. And that's why I'm grateful for people like yourself that do this type of work, because for me, I find that, I am a smoker, I have to admit it, but I find my work with energy healing really kind of balances out, and it makes a big difference. I should be hacking and coughing by now,
Right.
Anyway, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more with Chris Kaylor.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
And hello, and welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We're having a fantastic conversation today on quantum healing and other topics relating to health and the awakening process of the planet here with Chris Kaylor. Chris, welcome back to the show. We were just talking about how we must be aware of our diet, and how working with alternative healing such as quantum healing, and I myself am a Reiki master. I work a lot with Reiki energy. Really, it does make a difference in combating some of the negative aspects of government-sanctioned poisoning of our food and water and air and everything else. I was wondering if have you worked with or have you developed anything to help combat either fluoride in specific or genetically modified organisms?
Basically, there are some ways that you can get around the whole thing. I mean, ultimately, if you can't avoid ingesting anything like this, some of the tools that I have that I actually sell on my website do work to help get rid of all this stuff. So let's say you've got a tube of toothpaste, and it's got fluoride in it, and you have nothing else to use but this toothpaste. You don't want to have stinky breath all day, of course. You don't want your teeth rotting out of your head. So what you can do with the toothpaste is you put it inside the neutralization ring for about a minute or so.
Oh.
And then you take it out, and then you take one of the pyramids that I sell. It's a triple pyramid. It's got the Star of David geometry within it. You hold the pyramid over the toothpaste, and you say neutralize and eliminate all the fluoride within this product. Hold it there for a minute or so, and the fluoride itself will become inert. Okay?
That's fantastic.
Yes, you're intending for the fluoride to go away. Fluoride is a bad thing. It will go away. That's what I do. Anytime I've got something that I need to use and it's got inorganic compounds in it, all I do is I hold my pyramid over it and say transmute all inorganic compounds to organic. And then your body, the DNA within that is going to correct its spin from inorganic to organic, and your body is going to be able to eliminate it or use it. Now, also, what you can do, you got fluoride in your diet, take minerals. certain minerals will bind to fluoride and it'll pull them out of your body. So if your mineral component in your body, all 98 minerals are nice and balanced, your body should have no problem with when you ingest a certain chemical or mineral that the mineral within your body binds to it and eliminates it from your body.
And what type of minerals could we use for something like that?
The best thing to use is a full spectrum liquid mineral. I also work with specific minerals. So if your body needs zinc, if you got a prostate issue, take liquid zinc. Liquid calcium. A big mineral that I like to use a lot for people with bone issues and that type of thing, or calcium issues, is silica. Silica is a very misunderstood mineral. It's very important for the absorption of calcium into your body. And I use that in the form of diatomaceous earth. Everybody's heard of diatomaceous earth. We don't really understand what it does. Lots of people use it for pool filters, okay? There's two different grades. There's food grade, there's pool grade. When you take the diatomaceous earth flour, looks like baking flour, mix it in water, you drink it, number one, it's going to kill parasites in your body. It's going to add silica to absorb calcium into your bones. Silica is great for your skin, hair, and nails. So ladies, you're going to love this product. It also adds a lot of other nutrients. The biggest response I get about it is that people's energy goes up. All of a sudden, you feel you got more energy. So nutrition ultimately is key. Now, there's two minerals that I use very often for specific problems. Cancer, we use liquid platinum, okay? Platinum has been proven to fight cancer activity and remove it from the body. It's not the cure for cancer, give me a break, but it does a very, very good job in assisting whatever else you're doing for cancer in your body. People with depressions and different types of melancholy, and if you got any kind of addictions, liquid gold works extremely well for that type of thing. So certain minerals for certain instances work great on almost any health problem.
Oh, that's wonderful to know. And the reality of it is that we do pull out so many minerals from our diet, especially with all of the preservatives and whatnot that we use. I always talk. I talk mostly about fluoride because for me, fluoride is hidden in so many foods. Whether you go out to eat, you don't know where the water's coming from that they're cooking with. I mean, to the beer you drink, God knows where that water comes from. That they make. So it seems that there is no labeling for something like that. So we need to be aware of the fact that it could be in just about anything. And the reality of it is that we do also need to recompensate or compensate for the lack of minerals in our diets. I found that adding minerals to water is very helpful too, especially if it's fluoridated. Do you know anything about that, or can you suggest any type of minerals for that?
What I usually do is I use distilled water, so you got dead water.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
There's nothing in the water, okay? So I just take liquid minerals, add it to my water, and now you've got live water again. Now you can also put enzymes. There's a liquid enzyme you can buy, and you put a little bit of enzyme in. Now your body's going to get enzymes that may help with weight loss or different things. Enzymes are very good for working with cancer. Cancer is a fungus, and it helps to eat the fungus. So just by adding the liquid to your diet, no matter how you do it, is going to be extremely beneficial.
Great, fantastic, thank you. Now to change the subject a little bit and to go back a little bit to the symptoms of this awakening process, and it may not even be symptoms, but let's talk a little bit about sleep disorders, because that seems to be a rampant situation for so many people in today's world, whether they are the rat race 9-to-5ers. Trying to raise kids, trying to do everything and work full time and whatnot. A lot of people are having problems sleeping. A lot of people drink, and that causes a lot of problems in sleep. And as well, I can't help but, for me personally, I find myself waking up in the middle of the night, usually between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., And quite honestly, it's because I need to take a break from my dreams. My dreams are so vivid. I'm doing so much work in my dreams that it's like, oh man, I need to wake up and take a break. So there's there's like a double-edged sword going on here, and I can't help but think or ask you. What have you seen with sleep disorders, and what kind of work can you do to help people out with sleep disorders?
Sleep problems I've done a lot of research on. Now, for the normal person who has trouble falling asleep at night, has trouble staying asleep, there's a few different things to be considered. Number one, you have to look at the fact that when you go to bed, your head is spinning, your mind is just racing around about what you did that day, what you got to do tomorrow, and you're just under all this anxiety. That's the sympathetic nervous system is just working overtime. So quite often there's some kind of energy in there that we need to remove so that sympathetic nervous system can slow down and you can relax and the anxiety isn't there. There's also things like melatonin deficiencies, and if you're deficient in melatonin, which is a hormone, you have a mineral deficiency. So you have to make sure that those things are in check, that your minerals are balanced out so that your body can make the melatonin and it's not making excess cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which is going to affect the nervous system and cause anxiety. So there is definitely some things that can be looked at when somebody has a sleep disorder. Sleep apnea is something different, okay? But just falling asleep, staying asleep, and having a good sleep throughout the night. When I go to bed, I hit the pillow, I kiss my wife on the cheek. I got remarried. I kiss my wife on the cheek and I say, "Night, honey," and she turns around and I'm asleep.
Nice.
And I don't wake up until the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. And dreams, I don't dream. I rarely dream. Okay, my sleep is just like a rock.
Wow, very heavy.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I do remember the days when I was in printing where my head would be spinning, the anxiety level is up, and you just can't go to bed because you're just thinking too much. So sleep disorders, minerals are very important. De-stressing is very important. Don't drink coffee. I have a cup or two in the morning, and that's it. If you're drinking coffee and soft drinks during the day, well, that's going to help. It's going to affect your nervous system and keep you awake. There is a product I did develop. Okay, I work with frequency in wristbands. Everybody's seen the power balance wristband and different types like that. Well, the wristband itself is just a carrier for the frequency energy that I use. So I use radionics, which is working with the frequency, and I take a wristband and I developed some different recipes that I put the frequency of within the wristband. So when you wear the wristband, it helps you sleep. I sell these things a lot on the internet, on my website. I have some stores in Winnipeg. There's some World of Water stores that carry them, and they actually do very well. I got people who swear by these things. They lose one or their dog eats it, they're knocking on my door. I need another sleep band. These things really do work. They don't work for, they might work for 90% of the people, but that's another good option for helping you sleep. So there is definitely some things you can do for sleep. It's not a disorder you have to live with your whole life.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. We have a question here on the chat room that somebody's asking. Joe is asking, do you see any benefits to using monatomic elements?
Monatomic elements? What the heck is that?
No, like monatomic silver, monatomic gold.
Okay, yeah. What I use is, I call it ionic or angstrom.
Okay.
Yeah. So silver is antibacterial. The astronauts in the space station, their underwear is made from silver. Okay.
Wow.
So you don't have to change your underwear. It's antibacterial. Yeah, I use gold. I use platinum. I all the elements I use in a liquid ionic form for whatever your body needs.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So ionic. What does I'm interested because maybe it's a regional thing. Why we call it monatomic and you call it ionic?
You call it anything.
What does ionic mean?
Okay, so let's look at what people know. People have heard about colloidal silver.
Yes.
Okay, so the word colloidal defines the size of the molecule.
Yeah, and I would think.
You've got colloidal silver and you've got ionic silver. The ionic silver or nano, whatever you want to call it, is a smaller molecule. Colloidal silver, if you take too much of it, it's going to turn your skin grayish blue. Your body's going to plug up. The cells are going to plug up with it. So when you use an ionic form or a smaller molecule version of silver, your body is able to absorb it more efficiently and not plug up your cells.
Very good. That makes a lot of sense. I've actually seen articles where people turn blue from using colloidal silver.
Yeah, I'm working with somebody right now to try and detox their bodies because this guy got 2 silver bars and a generator, and he made his own colloidal silver, and he drank the stuff like water, and then now he's got problems.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people do make it at home, actually.
Yes.
So I've seen, or so I've read, especially out in the alternative interwebs. Sadly, I don't mean to laugh. It's just I can't help but to think that how dangerous it would be if you just got really toxified on something like that.
You know what? Anything that's good for you can also be bad for you. So moderation is key. Now, touching on that, anybody can go into a health food store and buy something off their shelf and start taking it. I advise kind of against that unless you know you need that product. And another thing that I do is if you've got a bunch of supplements that you take, you can set up an appointment with me and I'll use my pendulum to see exactly what you need. I can test those supplements against your body, tell them how good they are for you. One supplement might be canceling one out. You know what, you might not need something and you're taking it. Like, let's take calcium. Okay, all the women out there, we're all told that if you're a woman, you have to take calcium because your body's going to be deficient. How do you know you're deficient?
Yeah. Okay,
if you don't know, you can do a hair analysis that might tell you your calcium levels. The pendulum work I do, it's 99% accurate. It's going to tell me exactly how deficient you are in calcium. And then it's going to tell me what mineral you need to absorb calcium, because calcium is in everything. If you look at the product list on food, it's got calcium. Everything's got calcium. So when your body gets too much calcium, let's say you have hard water and your body is got too much calcium. Calcium is going to be stored within your brain, your muscles. Now you got muscle cramping. Now you've got migraine headaches, and it's going to be causing you problems. So you have to be aware of how much of a nutrient your body has before you start taking it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people. Hey, I was one of those people. I'd read an article about something. It's like, oh, I need to start taking this, or I need to start taking that, and either I didn't feel anything or I felt worse.
Exactly.
You know, or some of these supplements, especially when it comes to herbal and whatnot, you kind of feel poisoned if you don't need it, just like any medication.
Yes.
You know, absolutely. I find that people, again, you know, well, the mainstream, they find this one ingredient, and the next thing you know, they're selling it to the masses. I think right now here in the U.S. it's pomegranate. Everything's got pomegranate.
Oh, you know, you look at weight loss supplements. People, please stay away from any kind of mainstream weight loss pill. Okay, everybody wants the magic pill for weight loss, and there's all these different. I forget what the latest one is, and for God's sakes, Dr. Oz, I love you to death. But he's just pitching products for people. That's all the guy's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got some validity, but come on, all he's doing is he's a big infomercial. Just because he says it's good for you doesn't mean it's going to be good for you. Okay, so do your own research, talk to credible people, and find out exactly what's going to be good for weight loss. I do run a weight loss clinic out of my office. I use Ideal Protein, which is all across North America. It's the fastest growing weight loss protocol in North America. It's not the most healthiest form, but it's a heck of a lot more healthier than the food you're eating on the shelves, okay? And you just use it for a certain period of time until your weight is gone, and then you start your own diet. And number one is cut all the carbohydrates out of your diet, all the fructose, all the sugars, all the starches. 100 years ago, when everything was manual labor, we needed those carbohydrates. Now that our jobs are sit down in front of the computer and on the phone, we don't need all those carbohydrates. Protein, yes, we need. 60 to 80 grams a day of protein. That's like 3 chicken breasts a day, okay? We also need tons of vegetables, and not overcooked. You need nice raw vegetables with live enzymes within them.
Yes, exactly. And to go about the weight loss thing, I just went on a little mini diet myself, and I found the best thing to use was mathematics. Count your calories.
Sure.
So there are so many hidden calories in everything. I went and picked up I was just shopping today, and I love I love my carbs. I hate to say it, but I got off bread and pasta and all that stuff for the longevity of the diet. I'm kind of weaning myself on a little bit right now. Probably already gained 5 pounds back. But the reality of it is that I went to the delicatessen over here, and I love macaroni salad. During the summer, a nice, picnic, you want to have pasta salad or something like that. It was 600 calories per 2 tablespoon portions. I was like,
Sure.
You've got to be kidding me. I mean, so many hidden calories that people don't realize. Soda, just because something is fat-free doesn't mean it's calorie-free. We have so many people drinking diet soda with that horrible poison, but yet it's got a ton of calories in it.
Oh, on so many different levels, yes. Now, diet soda, if you're diabetic, doesn't mean you can drink as much diet soda as you want. The aspartame in there is going to be worse for you than actually drinking the sugar, okay? It's not going to spike your blood sugars like a regular soda would, but it's going to damage your kidneys, it's going to damage your liver, your pancreas, and make things worse for you. So for God's sakes, please, no diet sodas, nothing with aspartame within, any kind of artificial sweeteners, unless it's stevia or something natural and organic. It's just going to be bad for you.
Exactly. And now the big one is, I don't know what they call it in Canada, but they call it sucralose here.
Yeah,
like,
sucralose,
it's made from sugar. And everyone's like, oh, this is the new great thing. And I'm like, well, it's a chemical form of something, and I don't know how good that can be for you,
And anything that's got a scientific sounded word in it, just stay away from it.
Now, stevia, I got to tell you, I did try stevia a couple times, and I think it's very sweet. It's really good on like cereal and things like that. For me, it doesn't taste good in coffee, and I love my morning coffee. So I've found dehydrated sugar cane.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, it's still sugar, but at least it's not processed sugar. It's not even that raw sugar. What do they call it? Turbino sugar or whatever.
Yes.
Because that's processed.
What I use maple syrup in my coffee, and you need just a little bit of it because it does have a lot of sweetness. So it's 100% organic. They tap a tree in Canada, and they drain the sap out of it, so you're drinking tree sap. All you tree huggers out there should be loving this stuff. It makes your coffee taste great too, so that's what I like to use.
Oh, well, that's something good I'd like to try, perhaps.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all.
I like to use raw organic cane sugar.
Okay, sure. That's probably what the same thing of what I do. The dehydrated cane. Absolutely. What do you mean? You don't use maple syrup, Trevor? What kind of Canadian are you?
I put bacon in my coffee.
Oh.
I just put organic maple syrup on my peanut butter pancakes this morning.
Oh, that sounds good. Anyway, so yes, be aware of hidden calories. Be aware of fake chemical sweeteners and whatnot. One of the things I feel people don't realize is how much, and I'm sure you deal with this a lot in the work that you do, Chris, is how much a lot of these chemicals affect our central nervous system, and how much the central nervous system creates that. What is the chemical you mentioned earlier? The stress chemical?
Cortisol.
Cortisol.
Yes.
I always tell people, if you feel yourself clenching or tightening up, that's your central nervous system going off. You don't want to go there, You want to... I work a lot with, like, meditation protocols and stuff like that, so it's always like, stay relaxed and don't eat anything that's going to really affect your central nervous system. But we've got a few more minutes on this segment, and I wanted to save this for the second or the last section of this particular broadcast. But tell us. Actually, I am going to. I'm sorry. I was going to get into the whole attachment and voodoo and whatnot, but I think we'll save that for the end of the show. I think it's a very interesting topic too.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one and a great finale for this particular show. But what about parasites? A lot of people say some parasites are good. Some people want to get rid of all the bacteria. I've just started using probiotics and enzymes and whatnot, and I do feel a difference.
Sure.
So can you differentiate the difference between parasites and bacteria and whatnot, and some of the work that you've been doing with that?
Well, parasites, if every doctor in the world had a dark field live blood analysis microscope in their office, they would find 50% of the cause of most health problems. I have lots of people who come in with eczema and skin problems and bowel problems, sinus problems, you name it, and it usually comes down to a parasite. So I can do a live blood analysis to look for a parasite, and these are worm parasites. These are roundworms within the bowel. These are roundworms within your joints. Parasites are very misunderstood by the medical community. If they don't see one crawling out of your ears or out of your butt, they're not going to consider it. If you look at the symbol for the medical community, okay, it's this cross with a snake going up it. Okay,
right.
What that is about is that there's a parasitic worm. I think it's in Africa somewhere, and this thing starts to crawl out of your skin. It starts to poke out, very painful. What they do is they take a stick and wrap the parasite around it and pull it out. That's what that signifies. So why isn't the medical community looking for parasites? So parasites can be a very, very big problem, and there can be etheric parasites, which are in your etheric body, in your aura. There can be manifested physical parasites within your body causing a problem. So I look for that. We use diatomaceous earth and different parasite cleanses to get them out. I also use energy to kill them. Parasites, you got to hit it two ways because they're very aggressive. There's also single cell parasites like amoeba, protozoa, leishmania, different types like that can cause a lot of problems. They cause cysts in your body. And you get a cyst on your ovaries, and if you're a woman, where did that cyst come from? What is the purpose of it?
Right.
And so definitely you got to look at a parasitic aspect. Parasites and bacteria, they're two different people playing in the same game. Bacteria is a smaller microorganism, where a parasite is a large multi-cell organism within your body. So when you're looking at parasites, if you got parasite infestation, there's a good chance your pH in your body is acidic. So you're going to be like a 5.5, and an acidic body is a good place for parasites to live. They love acidity. So if you got that, you've probably also got candida, which is a fungus. So there's a multiple layer problem. When you're looking at parasites, you have to fix a whole bunch of things in order to really get rid of them.
And speaking of the whole alkaline pH thing, how important is that to you in the work that you do as far as maintaining an alkaline body?
It's very important. Of course, if you're acidic, you're going to have things like acid reflux, and you're going to have upset stomach when you eat because the acidity in your body is high. Everything in your body has to be balanced. Your pH is balanced. Your minerals are balanced. Your vitamins are balanced. Your thought processes are balanced. Everything is about balance within your body to sustain a good health. So pH is definitely something we need to consider. If you're drinking way too much coffee and soft drinks, and you're eating acidic foods like tomatoes or turkey and different things that are high in acids, then that's just going to cause the environment for disease and illness.
Oh wow! I didn't know that turkey was acidic. I thought it was like the least harmful.
No, it's very good for you, but I do think it's on the acid side. I have a food binding chart I look at, and it's on there. So.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take a look at one of those. But yeah, no, I actually someone told me, I forgot. I believe it's Jeff Harvey, another quantum healer like yourself, talked about the acidity of coffee, and I believe we spoke about like doing a shot of baking soda in the morning just to get maybe raise the pH level a little bit, and I found that it makes a big difference. I feel great. I'll do a teaspoon of baking soda and some water, in a shot glass and shoot it down before I have my morning coffee, and it makes a big difference. It does.
It does, yeah, yeah. If you got your car and your battery is corroded, if you put baking soda and water and pour it on the battery, it's going to clear up all of the corrosion. It's going to reduce the acids.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, I've switched from if I have heartburn or something like that, I'll just rather do a natural baking soda, and it's so cheap compared to the medications they sell out there anyway.
Well, if you take Tums, you're putting aluminum in your body.
Yes, exactly. But no, I'm a Pepto-Bismol guy, the pink stuff, or was, I should say. But it's just so much better. I mean, I find a big difference now. And we've only got a couple more minutes in this particular segment, but are there any other ways that people can alkalize their body? Is there any type of tools that you have that perhaps you sell that can help to alkalize?
Tool-wise, we could always lower the pH, but if your diet consists of certain things that are raising your pH, then you're just doing something and then reversing it. There is different drops that you can put in your water to bring your pH to a balanced level. It's from Mineral Life Online. It's called Alkalizer. And that you can take that to balance your pH, but ultimately diet. Okay, you have to get everything at the source, at the root, and it's going to be diet. So you have to make a list of what you eat on a daily basis and do some research on it and see what the acid level is within that product. And just by removing something, or something could be interacting with something causing a high acid. So diet is the key.
Yeah. And again, it's about educating yourself. It's about staying away from the fast food. It's about counting the calories. It's and speaking of food, and we've only got about 30 seconds, but the idea of prayer over food. I always wondered what the big deal was, and then I became a Reiki master, and the idea of putting an intention into the food really helps as well. I've noticed.
That's exactly right. You're what, a lot of people take prayer and they have a different view of it.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is blessing the food. You're removing the negative energies from it, and you're adding a positive vibration to it.
Especially if it was slaughtered at one of these horrible farms.
Yes.
We'll be right back with Chris Kaylor.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I just want to take a moment and tell everybody about our show next week. We got another wonderful show. Next week, we are going to be speaking with our very own Isaac Holt on indigo awareness and indigo and multidimensional awareness. We have this wonderful opportunity to get to know one of our very own administrators, who turns out to be how shall I say, an intellectual genius and a spiritual indigo crystal child. An absolutely amazing young man. You're really going to enjoy the conversation with Isaac Holt next week, especially if you think you might be an indigo child or a crystal or a rainbow or any of these new generation beings that are incarnating on the planet. So go ahead and join us again next week at 2 p.m. here on Revolution Radio. But we still have another wonderful segment with Chris Kaylor. And Chris, before I move on, I just want to share with everybody about the intention of food. I wanted to finish up that thought because we got cut off a little bit. But I would just like to highly suggest that for people. It really does make a difference. Putting intention in your water, putting intention on your food. People forget that, when we just eat haphazardly, we're eating a lot of stuff that, especially meat in today's world. I am a proud meat eater, actually. But the reality of it is that it comes from a very negative place, and we want to reverse that. And I was wondering if you had a comment on that, Chris.
Yeah, here's what somebody can do. Okay, so we talk about prayer. We talk about blessing the food. Here's what you can do. Okay, we all like to have a glass of good intent within that wine. Okay, let it sit for a second, then take a sip out of each glass. there's a good chance you're going to notice a little difference in the taste and the smoothness of the wine that you prayed over, okay?
Oh, wow.
You can do the same thing with one of my rings, my small little neutralization ring. If you pour a glass of wine, 2 glasses, put 1 glass over the ring, let it sit there for 30 seconds or a minute, take a sip out of each glass, you're going to notice a small difference. You can do the same thing with Reiki and quantum touch. Just run energy into the wine. It's going to smooth out the frequency of everything within there, and you're going to notice a difference. So that's one way you can tell, does prayer work? Does it do something to the food? Yes, it does. You can actually tell a difference in the taste.
Yes, absolutely. And just to round up this conversation as far as food is concerned, and don't put it back in the microwave after you did that.
No.
A lot of my friends think I am insane because I will not use a microwave. I'm like, do you know what that does to the food? And especially if you're going to put an intention into it, it really will just literally zap it. And just please, guys, Google microwave poisoning and radiation and how it cooks the food. It loses all the nutrition. We're talking about nutrition here today. Even water, it changes the molecular structure of water. So if you're rewarming your coffee, I think there was an experiment where they recently that is out there. It's viral right now, where they microwaved water. They did like a water experiment, microwave water, distilled water, and spring water, and they watered all these plants with it, and within a day or two, the microwave water killed the plant. Mm-hmm. So it's something to be said. But let's move on a little bit here because I really want to touch on this, and we have about 20 minutes left of acknowledging, and the reason why it's so important is because I had a spiritual attachment on me, whatever you want to call it. In my 20s, and it made my life very difficult. I was very depressed. I fell into some, crazy addictions. Then again, I did grow up in Miami, but in the 80s. But the reality of it is that it wasn't until I acknowledged this particular spiritual attachment and literally blessed it and sent it on its way, gave it love, and said, "You don't need to be here anymore." That my life literally turned around after that. But so many people don't understand what spiritual attachments are, extraterrestrial attachments, and or the idea of voodoo and black magic and how that can affect our health and how we feel. So can you tell us a little bit about all of these, Chris?
Yeah, you got 5 hours? Okay. Let's,
5 minutes each.
Yeah. Basically, when we say spiritual attachment, okay, so we're here in a dense human form, and when we die, our spirit is supposed to go to heaven and transcend and be in harmony and that type of thing. There's a lot of people who die, and their spirit doesn't know they're dead, okay? So they wander around the earth thinking they're still alive, and what they can do is they can attach themselves to other people's energy and get inside your body so they can experience life and they can feel alive again. What happens when this spirit goes into your body or attaches to your aura, it causes disruption. Your body knows something is wrong, and it's going to create a health problem from it. So whenever I do work on somebody, whenever I do healing, I always look for the spiritual attachment. Quite often it's related to the area of the body I need to work on. So if you've got diabetes, working on your pancreas, there's a good chance there's some type of spiritual attachment in the pancreas. It's going to go to the lowest area of vibration so it can exist there. So that is one of them, and that is we call it an earthbound entity. An entity that's around and it's causing some problems. There's also poltergeist. In German, poltergeist means ghost that makes noise. Mm-hmm. So poltergeists are actually spirits with an attitude, and they want to cause problems. So they intentionally get in your body and cause problems. Now, poltergeists are also involved in voodoo. So people who practice voodoo, what they do is they set the dark intent, and the poltergeist will carry out what the person doing the voodoo wants to do. I could get into a long aspect of voodoo. I've done lots of research on it from one end to another. Voodoo can be as much as a negative thought.
Yeah.
Okay? If somebody's thinking negative about you or talking behind your back, thoughts are energy. That energy is directed at you because they're talking about you. And yes, it can cause a problem. And then people aren't intending a problem to happen. It just happens. And I've noticed this myself. I've done lots of work on people removing voodoo energies, and all of a sudden it makes the problem a lot more easy to deal with. So voodoo can be just a negative thought. It can also be intended voodoo, where somebody's sticking pins in a doll and that type of thing. So that's another type of negative attachment. Now, a lot of people are talking also about extraterrestrial. Now, what up with that? Okay, we're talking about abductions, and you see lots of stuff on the internet, but you see it a lot, but what is it really? Everybody on the planet is born with a gray alien zeta reticuli within their body. Okay, it's an agreement that was made eons ago that a gray alien is allowed to inhabit your body, to do experiments, to splice your DNA, to try and make improvements to their own DNA, which is all screwed up. But this all happens at the etheric level. Okay, where this happens, within our aura, there's all these different bodies, and I go through about 50 different bodies within the aura. Now, there's a body called the etheric template, and the etheric template is a blueprint of all of the physical parts within your body. So you have a liver, kidneys, spleen within your body. You have a liver, kidney, spleen in your etheric template. Mm-hmm. If there's something in the etheric template, your body feeds off of it. If there's something going on in an area there, your body's going to exhibit the symptoms. So you go to the doctor and he says, there's nothing wrong. We can't find anything. You've done years of testing. You can't find anything. That's because the problem is in the etheric template. So when these aliens do their abductions, they're abducting the etheric template and working within there, okay? And many people have a memory of this because, of course, they're conscious within their etheric template, and they just have a memory of it, okay? And quite often, when somebody does come into my office, I have to work with the abduction part of it, and what that entails is removing the tracking device, because they do place an etheric tracking device within your etheric template, so they can keep coming back to you and they can keep doing their experiments. So quite often I do find all these zeta reticuli. I move them off into ether. Universal law says if you find something, identify it and tell it to go, it has to go. Yep. So that's what I do. I move out these different aliens, and there's various forms. There's demonic ones. There's zeta reticuli, reptilians. Reptilians are almost all gone now. But there's still a lot of zeta reticuli. So those are the little gray ones with the big black eyes. Mm-hmm. So I move them out quite often. Then I find the tracking device, and then I go after the real physical problem. So spiritual attachments, very misunderstood. It's an area where people hear about it, but they don't quite understand it. I'm able to explain it as what it really is. Then people can go, okay, I get it. If you really know what you're talking about and you've experienced it and you know how to deal with it, it's not that big or ugly of an issue that it really sounds like. It's not as scary. Now, the biggest one that freaks people out is when I tell them you've got the devil inside of you. Okay?
Right.
It's a balance. Okay, there's light, there's dark. Devil is dark, God is light. Right now, so we're trying to balance that out with all light. A lot of kids, they do have the devil inside of them, and it's what it's doing. It's causing behavioral issues like ADHD and those types of things. Quite often, if you've got some kind of let's take an extreme. Let's say somebody who's a serial killer. Okay, mm-hmm. How does a person bring upon themselves within their free will to kill somebody just for no reason? These people are actually being directed by the devil. The devil is the energy is strong within them, and they're being told to do this, and they can't help it. Okay, you can go to the other end where somebody just, let's say, has an addiction. Okay, you're addicted to video games. You're addicted to drinking water, or whatever it is. That negative energy is causing that. That's a component of what's going on within your body. So the whole spiritual attachment thing is very, very huge. I make the joke that the movie R.I.P.D., that's what I do for a living. Okay, finding spirits within your body, within your house. I've moved out many spirits from people's houses doing clearings, and I do that on Google Street. I know I can do it off the computer. It's no big deal. Quick story. I have a client in Selkirk, Manitoba. Trevor, you know where that is. What she does, and she doesn't know it, but her body, her energy helps people who have died to pass into the light. So they go through her and they go into the light. So she lives in this old house in Selkirk, and there was a lot of negative things happening in that house with the children and different people. And these spirits of the children were stuck in that house. And they would try to use this person's body to cross over into the light, but she didn't know what to do, and they would be trapped in her body. And it was causing her a lot of pain, lots of muscle pain, lots of headaches, heart problems, you name it. She was having all kinds of issues. I went there and I did my energy work on her, released all these spirits out of her body. She cried for about 30 seconds from the emotional release. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, her pain went away.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And, and it's funny because, it's not funny. I'm thinking about the reaction to, the layperson when we talk about these particular instances. And most people, when they think of attachment, whether it be spiritual or extraterrestrial, they think of possession and the exorcist. It can be so much more subtler than that.
It is. I always make the joke, when I'm going to remove a spirit, I'd look at people, I say, your head's not going to spin around 360, you're not going to green stuff. When a priest goes in and does a real exorcism like that, he's actually putting up his fists and duking it out with the demon or the attachment. When you're working with energy, it's completely different. It's the universal law that comes into play. You can fight somebody head to toe, or you can call the cops and say, get this person out of here. You can do it the hard way. You can do it the easy way.
Exactly. There's a it's kind of like life in general. You can either do it violently or you can do it peacefully.
Sure.
But absolutely. And I feel that, and especially with actually, I don't know if we've talked about this or if we have time. We have about 6 minutes left. The idea of energetic or paranormal vampires or vampirism, where people literally are just draining your energy, and they may not even realize they're draining your energy, or you're in a work situation or a family situation where that other person is constantly draining you of your energy and you're feeling sick and you don't know why you're feeling that way. Have you seen instances of that as well?
Oh yes, all the time, and I've experienced it myself. When you're within, let's say 2 feet away from somebody and you're having a conversation with them for 5-10 minutes, and you walk away from their conversation and you feel tired and drained, that person or the entity within that person sucked all your energy out of you. Okay, that's what's happening here. It's not the person themselves; they're not consciously doing it. There is something within them, an entity, an ET, or whatever it is, sucking on your energy, because your auras are within each other. So now that person you're talking to has access to all of your energy, and whatever is in them is just robbing it and stealing it.
Absolutely. And when we're speaking of aura, just to clarify for our listeners, what would you say, about 2 feet is close enough to connect an aura?
Yeah,
well, depending on your state of vibration. If you're at a low vibration, about a foot or two. If you're vibrating at a high level, that could be up to 6-8 feet away from you.
Well, I think my aura goes out about 50 miles out.
Okay.
But for the average person, a couple feet, depending on your health and your frame of mind.
Yeah, and that's how easily you can get sucked into someone else's,
That's right.
Unfortunately. But I feel that I'm glad we're bringing this up today, because a lot of people aren't even aware of that, and we spoke about the extraterrestrial attachment. If it helps our listeners to help quantify that discussion, think of it as something transdimensional. It's something that you can't see. It's not necessarily this gray thing coming down on a flying saucer like you've been seeing, you see in the movies. Sometimes it's just a transdimensional telepathic connection.
That's correct.
And it's funny because I forgot who it is. Actually, a lot of the right-wing spooky folks, satanic panic people, think that all demons are aliens or all aliens are demons, and having studied it, I know there's a big difference. However, I do think that maybe perhaps a lot of these, what you call the devil type entities, are transdimensional entities that are trying.
Well, yes. The devil is first dimension.
Yep. And trying to get in and control. Absolutely. And like I said, having gone through that spiritual attachment in my 20s, I really had no control, and I could feel when that attachment was getting control, and I could feel the moment when it was in control and I wasn't anymore. And I'm not talking about like going out stabbing people. I'm just saying, just even my thoughts, that the darkness, the idea of even partying, drinking, doing drugs, something like that. It's just something would snap, and there was just something within me that I had absolutely no control over. And it was a horrifying existence for about 8 or 9 years there. Whether I was partying or not, the idea of this whole thing, clinging. I called it a Klingon.
Sure, sure.
It was just a little Klingon that came around. I must have been messing around with something I shouldn't have, because I've always been involved with the occult as a kid. So I think somebody just clung on to me and decided to hang around for a while. But again, it's not the the head spinning. It's not the and it doesn't necessarily have to be the serial killer either. But there are different areas and different levels of something like that. So, and it can be worked out. And that's the good news. And I think that's where we're bringing this up, is that it can be removed very easily. Someone like Chris could definitely help you with that. Just so don't be afraid to go there. And I think that's the point I want to get across with this whole talk on this. Is don't be afraid to explore if you feel that might be something that is happening. On the other hand, or the other side of that, the people that think they have symptoms of everything and they sit out on WebMD all day long looking for diseases they have. So don't become a spiritual hypochondriac either.
Exactly. Yeah. Find out for sure what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And to do that, they could do a consultation with you.
Yeah, that's right. I take appointments Monday to Friday. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm very easy to get a hold of. My clinic phone number is also on my website. My fees. Let's talk about my fees for a second.
Yeah,
A lot of people who do this type of work, you're going to pay, $200, $300, $400 for a session. I charge $55 a session. Okay, I want this to be affordable for everybody. Everybody should have the opportunity to do this type of work and get rid of a health problem. Eventually, when my companies are up and running and I'm making money from them, I'm going to do this work for free. This is God's work. Nobody should have to pay for it, but I do have a family to support. So we charge a minimal fee, and everybody can benefit.
And the consultations can be done via Skype video or just the telephone?
Telephone, Skype video work very, very well. I have many, many success stories over Skype, over the telephone. 90% of my clients right now are all in other cities around the world. Trevor can attest that people in Winnipeg are just a little too conservative to venture out and spend some money when they can get it for free by going to the doctor and getting a pill.
Oh, yep. I've been in Roanoke, Virginia, and outside of even just outside of Winnipeg, and the energy's different. As soon as you come into Winnipeg, there's that conservative energy. So I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And again, everybody, you can find out more information at www.chriskaylor, KEHLER.net, and book a consultation with him. And for everybody else, please remember to join us next week as we have a 2-hour discussion on indigo and multidimensional awareness. I think you're really going to like that. Thanks a lot, Chris, and I'm so grateful to have met you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
There is no denying the world is awakening. We see it in the global uprisings and demonstrations of the people around the planet and the new way of thinking and living that is arising naturally within each one of us and our communities. I have been a major player in this global shift and movement for over 20 years and have helped tens of thousands of people around the world change their lives and find their voice in order to help create the paradigm change we so desperately need. Join me here at Revolution Radio on the Just Bernard Show every Tuesday at noon Eastern Eastern Time for 2 hours of powerful interviews and discussion with some of the most influential visionaries of consciousness, alternative media, and suppressed knowledge. We promise to reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience.